Well, our financial clearance unit is definitely a success story of our revenue cycle here at Moffitt. I'll give a little bit of what we're doing in that space, and then I'll talk about how we plan to leverage AI a little bit further than we are today. But in our financial clearance unit, we have a tremendous amount of volume that comes through, a lot of very costly treatments when you're talking about chemotherapy and radiation. And our volume keeps growing as we're expanding our footprint further and further across Florida. What we've done historically for the last decade is really focus on the more traditional RPA. A lot of this is actually rules-based automation that stems from what we find in the denials trends on the back end. Before we started all of our automation around that, we actually took a look and shuffled around where the resources lived. And I want to link that because I think it's really important to not just look at technology in a silo, but to figure out the people in the process that then lead to successful implementation of technology. And so within the prior authorization space, over the last 3 fiscal years, we've gone from, a volume that's about 48% automated to 61.6% automated as of our last June 30 fiscal year end that we just closed. That's while the volumes are, doubling over the last 7 years. And so I bring that up because we aren't as advanced in the predictive denials in the authorization space, but we have what I would say really finesse the process in terms of how we're leveraging people and technology in that process. And I want to give another just looking forward where we're looking to go. So with oncology prior authorizations, a lot of clinical information is required to get the authorization approved prior to service. A lot of times this involves a clinical peer-to-peer that needs to happen between the provider and the payer. With that, a lot of times there's trends in that data that we could use AI to help guide us in that process because a peer-to-peer requires a higher level skill set, a clinical skill set that is highly compensated resource for a revenue cycle team. And so that's where we're looking to go in the future, is using AI to help enable those team members to work top of license and really go into those conversations geared with the information they need to get a prior authorization denial overturned. And then I'll say just one other thing in terms of, back-end denials. We also have our prior authorization team work any denials related to the prior authorization process, whether it be eligibility, prior authorization itself, or any sort of coordination of benefits. And the beauty of that is it's the same team that's doing the upfront process and working the back-end denials. And that then enables us to automate and think about using AI to really prevent, not just predict the denials, but to put prevention controls in place to avoid them completely.